No matter what your economic status, high utilities, groceries, and gas cause stress and anxiety. Anthony Granado, Vice President of Government Relations with Catholic Charities USA, is on the front lines of helping those hardest hit by inflation. Anthony, it's so great to have you here with us. Is this a usual trend, what we just saw, where every couple of years you have a housing crisis, or is there something different and unusual about this specific crisis right now?
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me. Yeah, we've been seeing affordable housing crisis for some years now. Even prior to the pandemic, this country was facing an incredible affordable housing crisis, an affordable housing shortage. If you recall, one of the data points prior to the pandemic, nearly 35 to 40% of Americans couldn't come up with $400 in emergency cash on a monthly emergency. The housing crisis has continued to be a problem. Just today, the Wall Street Journal is reporting housing affordability in June was at its lowest, its worst since 1989. So this crisis continues.
It's a significant crisis and one that doesn't only beg for financial literacy and planning, but for help. So then what do housing relief efforts look like at the national level? Do these resources come only from what the church does and gives, or is there also a partnership with the government or somewhere else?
It's both and that really speaks to the church's teaching about the inherent dignity and justice, that shelter is a human right. It's an issue of justice. And as Catholics, we work with the public sector through private means and through public means. The goal is to help people and promote the common good. So Catholic Charities, on its private side, we have developed a program called the Healthy Housing Initiative. It's now 2.5 years into its process. It combines health and housing and existing to us and property to help reduce homelessness between now and 2025. We're looking at reducing chronic homelessness by 20%. We have pilot cities, 5 pilot cities where this project has taken off, including Southeast Michigan, St. Louis, Southern Nevada, Portland, Oregon, and Eastern Washington State. The goal is to develop affordable housing and to bring the homeless population and actually hospitalization numbers down. People forget that there's a combination of homelessness and health costs that go up with homelessness. So this is a big project that we started in 2021.
Multifaceted efforts that you're trying to do to assess these issues and find solutions. Because you're talking about state efforts, are there areas of the country that are more immune to this than others, where people don't have as much need for Catholic Charities, or is this nationwide?
No, it's definitely nationwide. Rental prices are up 40%. This is a nationwide urgent matter. There's nowhere really safe, even in the DC area where we live here with some of the highest rents in the country. If you're not making 6 figures in your family, you're going to have a very hard time paying rent. So there's probably no place, if you look at inflation's come down a bit since 9.1%, down about 8.3%. But with rising gas costs, food costs, this is continuing to impact people everywhere throughout the country.
And from your experience, are there specific communities that are affected by this? Is it always the same community, a recurring issue, or are you seeing more diversity in those who need help?
The diversity actually increases. You know, traditional cities like Portland, Oregon, we've seen a homelessness crisis in California, but there are places and rural communities where this is also going up. The pilot cities that we looked at, like Portland and Eastern Washington and St. Louis, even here in DC, we don't have a pilot project here, but you look at homelessness and it's going up astronomically. So there's really no place that this is not touching. And if there's something that's not done, both by Congress and through private groups like Catholic Charities, homelessness is only going to rise further and people are going to have a hard time finding shelter.
Finding shelter and obviously finding work. I think that there is a correlation with the political reality for you right now and before. No matter who is in office, you're always tangling with what the government decides that it wants to do. Is there an outsized role that Catholic Charities plays in addressing these issues?
Oh, absolutely. Since 2021, just looking at the numbers last year, Catholic Charities provided 1.9 million persons with emergency shelter. We've developed about 35,000 affordable housing units and are currently in the process of developing 6,000 more. In 2021, we also teamed up with the Felician Sisters to develop the Francis Fund to prevent eviction, put together about $2.3 million up to $5 million to help keep people from being evicted. But Catholic Charities is calling on Congress to take further steps in the FY23 appropriations. We had hoped to see something in reconciliation to address rental assistance, housing vouchers, and of course, to develop affordable housing. Catholic Charities, we develop outside the government, one of the largest groups of Section 202 housing for seniors. But this problem is not going to go away, and both the private sector and the public sector need to do more to step up to help keep people from going homeless.
You mentioned the Felician Sisters. I'm sure that Catholic Charities isn't alone. Are there other orders of women religious or men religious that are helping with this issue?
Of course, this is an issue that transcends all of the religious orders. The church throughout the country, parishes are responding, dioceses are responding. Catholic Charities serves as the social ministry of the Catholic Church in the United States, so we're in a unique place to respond to the needs. We have people who have the experience, know how to develop and affordable housing units, provide counseling. The one thing I think that Catholic Charities brings to the discussion is the wholeness of the human person. We're about human flourishing. The church talks about integral human development. We're talking about mind, body, and spirit. So people who are impacted by homelessness are often people impacted with behavioral health concerns, addiction issues. And that's, obviously private charity and the help of a parish is important, but sometimes people are going to need help with finding a job, dealing with issues such as addiction and other counseling. And so Catholic Charities, I think, is in a unique place to respond to homelessness and housing affordability.
Really quick, Anthony, what do the numbers look like? What kind of money is needed to step in and help alleviate housing emergencies? Is this comparable to the large amounts of money that Catholic Charities and Catholic Relief Services spend on disaster relief?
Well, I mean, it's hard to compare. I mean, disasters are very expensive. Right now, you see what's going on in Kentucky. Catholic Charities USA is responding there, as of course, well as the local agencies. It's very costly. You're talking about people who are devastated, who've lost their homes. You're talking about rebuilding. You're talking about an increase in homelessness. I was in El Paso and southern New Mexico about a month ago. The fires there in southern New Mexico were putting people out of their homes. You're talking about rural communities. The costs are going to be amplified by disasters, by whether it's fires or floods. And so Congress needs to step up. We're looking at what could be done in FY23 in appropriations. Again, we will continue to be doing this on the private side as well. People are generous. I think Catholics can be proud of the work of Catholic Charities, but it's going to take an all-hands effort to address this scourge, which has been there since before the pandemic.
It's going to take the whole church coming together. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you very much.